but you
There is
will.
something in here.
Oh, I see. I do see. Is it on the inside of the net?
It is on the
That's
inside.
a really great flower fly. So keep it in for a second, and I'll just put it in a little jar so we can take its picture. And we're gonna just get a flower fly here. And I'll let you see who this is.
It's up here.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. Yeah, Quinn, it'd be great if you want to be. Ah, this is really great.
Insect netting.
So when you think of flies, most of the flies you think of are flies that are associated with rotting meat or trash or things like that. But the diversity in flies is extraordinary. And there's a whole host of flies that are so bee-like that many people think they're bees. They're bee mimics, they're flower flies in a family called the Syrphidae. They nectar at flowers just like bees. They have very bee-like behavior, but they are flies, and there's tremendous diversity in that group. There's also a few flies that are bee mimics because they're predators. They hunt other insects at flowers. They're looking like a bee as a kind of disguise. They're saying, hey, I'm just a bumblebee. Don't mind me, I'm here on the flower. Other pollinators come and that hunter predatory bumblebee mimic pounces on them. So those are robber flies or flies in the genus Laphria. They're flower flies. So these are really good things to be able to document because the fly diversity often in many cases reflects other levels of diversity, which is often true that they're kind of layers. The more of this you have, the more of that you might have. So certainly our plant diversity will supply all the different kinds of plants for a tremendous amount of insect diversity. And then of course the birds, the abundance of insects is going to play up the scale to birds as well. So these are two more flying insect records for us. So here is a little bee. And here, let's see if I can get them both. So here's a wonderful story. The bee that looks like a yellow jacket, and I'll put it out in a minute, it looks just like a stinging yellow jacket wasp. It's not, it's actually a cuckoo bee. And cuckoo bees are parasites of mining bees. So anytime you have a cuckoo bee, you know that the mining bee who's its host is also there. And in fact, there's a bee that I believe is a mining bee, but maybe not the one that this bee parasitizes. There's gonna be a lot of diversity. It's gonna look just like a yellow jacket. It needs a little more time. It's gonna fall asleep, and then we'll photograph these in a line, and your spider too.
So that the small one, the more yellowish one, is the cuckoo bee.
The yellow and black striped is the cuckoo bee.
Okay.
It's in the genus Nomada, like nomad with an A on the end. And these are specialists at finding and sneaking into the nest of a mining bee and then laying their eggs in the brood chamber. Their host provisions its own larvae, but this egg hatches first and then eats all the food that was meant for the host bee's larva. So they're called kleptoparasites because they're stealing the resources that the host bee was providing for its own larvae. So that's really exciting.
The very small black bee, is that the mining bee?
That is a mining bee.
Okay.
And yet that might not be the mining bee. It's a little bit size-wise makes me think that there's usually at least several mining bee species present at the same time. So it might be that the nomad bee is the parasite of a different mining bee, but that definitely is a native mining bee and a native cuckoo bee and a native bee fly. So that's really great.